You've probably seen this drama all over Twitter. YouTube terminated my channel for no reason, and then after 16 years, my channel was terminated, and the presumption of guilt on YouTube, my channel was terminated, and people are constantly fighting about their channels getting terminated. Legitimate channels that are not committing any kind of crimes or violations of the YouTube terms of service are getting terminated like crazy, and we're going to talk about that. But I want to talk about another way that Google's AI is going absolutely rogue and hurting people. It's making up crimes and then putting them in the AI overview. Now imagine you are looking for a job and the company that is going to hire you, they're planning to make you an offer letter, but right before they do, they Google you, make sure that there's nothing wrong with you. But then when they Google you, the AI overview has just like lies saying that you've committed crimes that you have never committed. Most likely that company is not going to hire you. And that is basically what happened to this guy, Dr. Hope's Sick Notes. He's a fairly popular YouTube channel, almost 500,000 subscribers, lots of videos, and he posts doctor-related content where he reacts to episodes of TV shows and talks about what's realistic versus not realistic. It's interesting stuff. Think of a more niche Dr. Mike type character. And recently, he put out this video, suspended as a doctor, thanks Google, in which he says that Google lied about him in its AI overview, and he talks about it here. And this specifically is what Google's AI said about him. If you Google what happened to Dr. Ed Hope's Sick Notes, it says Dr. Ed Hope of the Dr. Hope's Sick Notes YouTube channel, so no chance of getting them mixed up with someone else, faces scrutiny and suspension by medical counsel in mid-2025 for his involvement with a company selling sick notes, aka fit notes, a practice seen as potentially exploiting the system for profit, leading to controversy and professional action against him for cashing in on patient needs despite his prior online popularity for medical content. What happened? Suspension. In June 2025, Dr. Ed Hope was suspended by the medical council, likely the GMC in UK. He was spearheading a company that provided sick notes, fit notes, essentially selling them rather than providing them as part of proper patient care, which raised ethical concerns. This came after he gained popularity as an NHS doctor and a reality TV personality known for his Dr. Hope's Sick Notes channel, where he'd break down medical scenes in media. The controversy: critics argued that he was profiting from people's health issues by facilitating quick, potentially unwarranted sick notes, undermining the healthcare system. This led to his suspension from the medical register, meaning that he couldn't practice medicine. If we jump forward a little bit here, it says, in essence, Dr. Ed Hope, a doctor who gained fame online, got into trouble for commercializing the process of issuing sick notes, resulting in his suspension by the medical authorities. Now, when you hear that, that sounds pretty bad. A doctor was illegally selling sick notes to make a profit on the side and abusing his credentials. Obviously, someone doing that should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. You're in the medical field abusing people's trust in the medical system. Except he had something interesting to say in his defense, because it doesn't seem like maybe it worked exactly as Google had made you believe.
Media. As I said, this may come as a big shock to many of you watching, and to be honest, it's an even bigger shock to me because none of this is true. And I don't mean some of this is contentious or I'm defending my position. This is Google AI completely making up false stories about me and sort of publicly stating that I've been suspended. And this is just about the most serious allegation you can get as a doctor, that you've been struck off. You basically aren't fit to practice medicine. And just for clarity, I've never had any investigations, let alone sanctions on my license, nor have I ever had a single formal complaint by a patient or colleague in my 10 years of being a doctor.
Now, that is absolutely insane. Not only is it hallucinating stuff, but it's completely hallucinating stuff. Maybe if he had had a complaint against him, people online were talking about him, or there was some other reason that the AI had pulled in this data, then you could have, I mean, it would still be wrong, but you could understand what happened. Here, it just totally made this up ground zero and decided he committed these crimes. A $4 trillion company can lie about you in a way that could get you arrested, could get your license revoked, or you could lose patients off of it, or maybe even your employer investigating you, or really any other number of problems. Here, basically by pure coincidence, it turned out not to be a big deal. But man, this could have been life-ruining. What if this had ended his YouTube career because this went viral and people were like, oh, he's a terrible person, and unsubscribed from him? Now, you might be wondering how the Google AI could have messed this up so badly. All of this happened because a different doctor with a completely different name, operating in a completely different part of the UK, had committed these crimes. And for some wild reason, the Google AI decided that it was Dr. Hope that had done it. Here is the other guy. This guy, they don't look the same. His name is Asif Munaf, and he was dropped by the BBC, blah, blah, blah. But basically, Dr. Asif Munaf, who was earlier removed from BBC's show The Apprentice, is now under fire for offering sick notes on the same day. Earlier, he was suspended from the medical register for making anti-Semitic posts online that criticized Israel's actions. I'm surprised that wasn't also attributed to poor Dr. Hope here. Article goes on. Now, fresh concerns have come up after it was found that his new company promises to help people get a doctor-signed sick note in as little as 2 hours. And then UK's Board of Medical Doctors looked at this, decided that he was abusing the medical system for personal profit, and has suspended him. But this guy, he doesn't look like him. He doesn't have the same name as him. He doesn't work in the same hospital as him. He's an entirely different person with no connection between the two of them. And yet Google's AI linked them and decided that Dr. Hope had committed this guy's crimes. And this is the exact same AI that we talked about at the beginning of the video that is banning these hundreds of channels. I'm sure it's probably a different, I don't know what the technical term is, distribution of the AI. One probably works on the content overview, one works the channels, but they have the same core of engineers. It is the same core code built by the same people that is both doing this in suspending hundreds upon hundreds of legitimate channels, and also doing this where it's just lying about people, making up crimes that they never committed, and potentially getting them like disbarred or whatever the doctor equivalent of that is. This AI possesses the power to end careers, either by hallucinating crimes that were never committed by people or by terminating channels that had never done anything wrong. And that should scare everyone. AI is unilaterally making these decisions by itself. It is the judge, jury, and executioner of all of these YouTube channels and also normal people living their lives. And the reason that Google is not doing anything about it is because it doesn't hurt them. What do they care if a YouTube channel is wrongfully banned? I mean, probably people who watch that channel are just going to watch another channel. It doesn't impact their bottom line unless someone like, I don't know, Mr. Beast was banned. It's not like Twitch, where you have several options. If Twitch starts going on a wrongful banning spree, people are going to go over and stream on Rumble. They're going to stream on Kick. They're going to stream on YouTube. Some of the other poor, unknown ones might even end up on Facebook live streaming. But the point is, with Twitch, there are other options. If Twitch starts abusing its market power, people will leave and some other streaming service will take the #1 spot. With YouTube, you upload your long form videos to YouTube and then that's it. You don't get to upload them anywhere else. Facebook has some kind of a Facebook Watch feature, but it's like clickbait videos and rage bait for your grandma. That's pretty much it. And there are a couple of other ones like, I don't know, Rumble exists, but that tends to be very right-wing politics. There's no other real substitute for YouTube. And as a result of that, they can do whatever they want and nobody can stop them. Now you might say, that's crazy. How is this legal? How can Google build an AI that just straight up lies about someone in a way that could potentially end their career and not have anything done? And that brings up an interesting question. Google's AI overview made up career damaging claims about me, referring to the doctor. And I want to read this why we care. Google's AI generated answers appear to now be presenting false career damaging claims about real people as fact. That raises serious questions about defamation, accountability, and this is the important part, whether AI-generated statements fall outside of Section 230 protections. Now, Section 230 is very complicated, but basically it means that social media platforms aren't responsible for what users post on those platforms. And that kind of makes sense. If someone posts a scam on Facebook, for example, that person is legally responsible for the scam that they posted. The courts have decided that Facebook is not legally responsible because Facebook didn't have any specific involvement in it. They just built a platform that then someone abused. But the real question is, does that same protection extend to AIs built by these companies? And I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like I would argue that no, it doesn't, or at least it shouldn't. Imagine I own a clubhouse. Anyone who wants can come in and out. If someone does something illegal inside my clubhouse, it makes sense that I shouldn't be held responsible as long as I wasn't facilitating or enabling or protecting those people. I just owned the clubhouse, they walked in, they dealt drugs, and then they left. The police come, they would arrest just them and not me. I was not involved in this, I just owned the clubhouse. That makes sense. They're an entirely separate person who is making their own mistakes and committing crimes. But then imagine I own that same clubhouse, but I have filled it with computers that I built. And on those computers, I build an AI and I just let the AI do whatever they want. And then the AI, for some reason, does something illegal. I think I should be held liable for that because I built it. I directly enabled that happening because I created the AIs and the space in which it took place. Like, there's no one else to charge there. If Google's AI lies, the only people to charge are Google. If we decide that AIs have no accountability, there is no one else to go after because you can't arrest or define an AI. It's just ones and zeros. If someone commits a crime in Walmart's parking lot, Walmart's not held accountable. And that makes sense. There's someone else to arrest. There's someone else that did something wrong. But with AI, there's no one else to arrest. The presumption then that there should mean that there is no one that committed a crime is horrible. If a Waymo car hits someone, then Waymo, the company, is responsible, or maybe Waymo's contractors who built the faulty parts. But the point is that the company involved in the accident that caused it is the one that is held responsible. In the same way, I think Google's AI needs to be held responsible for the things that it makes up. It's also just crazy to me that there was no safe check for this, like nobody to double check that the AI isn't making up wildly defamatory statements with something as serious as being kicked out of the medical community for breaking the law. Like, journalists have to check everything they do in order to not be sued, and a lot of the times they get sued anyway. If Time magazine had made these exact same claims against Dr. Hope, they'd be sued out the wazoo because they just made it up with no real sources. But then when Google's AI does the same thing, it's just fine. Like, I don't understand that train of logic. And I want to be clear, it will get worse. AI is being used in more and more places, and it's going to be abused in more and more places, or it's going to make mistakes in more and more places. And frankly, I think the internet is cooked. Thanks for watching.